Welcome to Wings of Danger, a thrilling spy adventure full of secrets, betrayal, and courage. Follow Monika Lundgren, a young Swedish agent, as she faces terrorists, traitors, and deadly plots across Europe and Africa. From air shows to ferries, from crowded streets to secret meetings, every step she takes brings her closer to danger and to the truth. Chapter 1. Trouble at the Festival. A woman stood on the wing of a Boeing Stearman plane. She wore dark glasses. The plane flew under a bridge and then low above the people. The woman waved and the crowd waved back. It was August 9th, the third day of the Stockholm Water Festival. It was 12 o'clock and there was an air show. More than 100,000 people were in the city center. The streets and squares were full, and people also stood on the bridges between the islands of Stockholm. On the water, there were many sailing boats and some large passenger boats. A jet screamed across the summer sky. People looked up. A smaller plane flew above the crowd near the royal palace. Half a kilometer away, near the city hall, a tall blonde woman was also watching. She wore blue shorts, a yellow shirt, and carried a yellow bag. Her name was Monika Lundgren, age 26. She watched the woman on the plane wing. It seemed like an exciting job, but also dangerous and lonely. Suddenly, a man's voice shouted, "Hey, you!" Monika turned. A young man of about 18 stood next to her. He wore red, white, and blue shorts and a T-shirt with the words, "Mad about football." His head was shaved and his face was red. He held a glass in his hand. His voice was loud. He was English. Monika smiled politely. "Hello," she said, and turned away to look back at the city hall. Then she felt a hand on her arm. "I said hello," the fan shouted. Monika pushed his hand away and smiled again, but he grabbed her shoulder and pulled her closer. "Give me a kiss. You're lovely," he said. He smelled of cigarettes. Some people saw this, but most were busy watching the planes. Monika suddenly lifted her arms above her head. The fan dropped his glass. She hit him hard in the stomach, then pushed her knee into his face. He fell forward. Monika held his arm behind his back and covered his mouth, then moved him towards the water. Finally, she kicked him and he fell in. As the crowd looked at another jet overhead, Monika quietly spoke into her yellow bag. A black boat came quickly across the water. Two men in wetsuits pulled the angry football fan into the boat. He shouted at Monika, but the noise of the engine drowned his voice as the boat sped away. Monika Lundgren, agent of Sweden's Secret Military Intelligence, SMI, smiled. "Keep him until evening, then let him go," she said into a hidden radio. But Monika was not at the festival for fun. She was there to work with the police. Her job was to stop any trouble outside the city hall. Inside, in the Nobel Prize room, 12 leaders of big businesses from Europe, the Americas, and Asia were meeting. The United Nations had organized it, and the chairman was Kurt Carlson, a Swedish minister. He had once been ambassador in Moscow. At 45, with long brown hair, he looked more like a rock star than a politician. Carlson spoke loudly. "The old Soviet Union had thousands of nuclear weapons. Russia has destroyed some already. But it is expensive and dangerous work. They need more money to continue. If we don't help, criminals or terrorists may steal these bombs. The world will only be safe when they are destroyed." A man in a wheelchair entered. Carlson introduced him. General Anders Blom of SMI. 20 years earlier, he had been shot in Africa while working with the UN, leaving him unable to walk. Blom explained, Sweden has good relations with Russia and other ex-Soviet states. They want to destroy the weapons but lack money. Terrorists are already trying to buy them. We must act fast. It will cost $1 billion. Everyone in the room began to talk at once. It was going to be a long meeting. Outside, Monika kept watch. At 3 o'clock, Carlson stepped onto a small platform to speak to journalists. The festival crowd and people in boats nearby looked on. Then Monika noticed an old passenger boat, the SS Vaxholm, stop about 50 meters away. A bright light flashed from the boat. A photograph, she thought. Suddenly Carlson cried out. Blood ran from his shoulder. He fell forward. Monika's face stayed calm. Into her radio she said quietly, Carlson has been shot. Chapter 2. Pieces of the puzzle. Blood spread under Carlson's body. 2 police officers knelt beside him. People screamed and police cars and an ambulance rushed in. Monika stayed calm. She thought about what she had just seen. The SS Vaxholm had stopped near the city hall. There was a sudden light from the boat. She had not heard a gunshot, but she had heard a loud metal sound, like coins falling, just as Carlson went down. An ambulance took Carlson to hospital. Police began to clear the crowd away. Monika left the city hall and walked across the central bridge. In the distance, she saw the SS Vaxholm sailing away. She entered the busy old town streets full of tourists. Turning into a smaller lane, she stopped at a dark doorway. She pulled a plastic card from her bag, pushed it into a slot, and the door opened. Inside the old building, the Swedish Military Intelligence (SMI) office was busy with lights and activity. Carlson's shooting meant hard work for everyone. Without speaking to anyone, Monika went straight to her office. Her face looked pale and worried. She had not stopped the attack. She sat at her desk and picked up a photo of her parents smiling on holiday in Spain 10 years before. Soon after that holiday, they died in a car crash when Monika was 16. She had lived with her grandmother outside Stockholm and had often felt lonely. The phone rang. It was Blom, her boss. I'm on my way back, he said. Carlson is alive. He will be fine. That's good news, Monika replied. I want to see you when I arrive. Blom continued. You were close to him when it happened. Try to remember exactly what you saw. Yes, sir, Monika said, and put the phone down. She felt both glad and angry. Glad because Carlson would live. Angry because Blom spoke to her like a child. She was the youngest and best SMI agent. After her parents' death, she had studied hard. She learned languages well and was strong in sport. She joined the army, and after 10 months, she was chosen as the best soldier of the year. Then she trained with American forces, learning parachuting and scuba diving. Later, SMI selected her because she also spoke Russian, Spanish, Swedish, and English. She had worked in South America, where she rescued 2 kidnapped Swedish tourists. Now she picked up the phone and called the company that owned the SS Vaxholm. She learned that an English football team, Milham United, had been on board for a sightseeing trip. Monika made another call to the Strand Hotel. Yes, they were staying here, the receptionist said. But they've just left. They're going to Finland. How are they traveling? Monika asked. By ferry, the Mariella. Chapter 3. Watching the team. Monika knocked on Blom's door and went in. I'm glad Carlson is going to be fine, she said. But I should have noticed the danger. There was nothing you could do, Blom replied in his quiet voice. Tell me what you saw. Monika explained about the flash of light from the boat, the metal sound, and that she never heard a gunshot. "And who was on the SS Vaxholm?" Blom asked. "An English football team, Millom United," Monika answered. "Interesting," Bloom said slowly. "I've already sent a fax to MI5 in London. I believe right-wing terrorists in Britain and Sweden may be working together. Maybe they were involved in the attack on Carlson. Where is the team now?" "They stayed at the Strand Hotel," Monika said. "But now they're on their way to Finland." "How?" Bloom asked. "By ferry, the Mariella," Monika replied. "Good. You will go with them," Bloom ordered. "Watch them. Find out what you can. Be back in Stockholm tomorrow night." Monika left SMI and hurried to Stadsgården, where the ferries left. The Mariella was huge, red and white, as tall as a city block. Monika bought a ticket to Helsinki and boarded. She saw cars, lorries and buses drive onto the ferry. A coach with the sign Millom United made her smile. She had found her target. An hour later, the Mariella moved slowly away, sailing through the many islands of Stockholm's archipelago before heading to sea. It would reach Helsinki overnight. Monika liked traveling by ship. It felt peaceful. From the deck she saw small islands with painted houses, children waving, and boats with yellow and blue Swedish flags. She thought about Carlson's shooting. Why had she seen a flash of light but heard no gun? Could someone shoot without a gun? Later, Monika ate dinner but didn't notice any English footballers. She went to the nightclub, where a band played and people danced. At the bar, a group of young men laughed and watched the dancers. Their clothes didn't look Swedish. Monika guessed they were Millom United. During a break, the guitarist asked if anyone wanted to play. A tall, red-haired man stepped up and played brilliantly fast rock and soft love songs. Monika couldn't stop watching. He noticed her, smiled, and she smiled back. After finishing, the man walked over. "Hi," he said in English. "I'm Bruce." "You play wonderfully," Monika said. "Thanks." "Do you want to dance?" Bruce asked. She agreed. They danced for half an hour. He danced as well as he played. "Are you on holiday?" she asked. "Yes," Bruce said. "I travel with Millom United everywhere." "Do you like football?" "Yes," Monika lied. "And you?" Bruce asked. "Yes, I'm visiting friends in Helsinki," she lied again. Bruce introduced her to some Millom United players. They seemed friendly. She learned they had just finished games in Sweden and were now going to Helsinki for one match. Then they would return to London by coach and ferry, but would come back to Stockholm in 2 weeks. "Do you always travel by coach?" Monika asked one player. "Yes, always, except when we flew to South Africa," he replied. Bruce asked Monika to dance again, but she said she needed to wake early. She left the nightclub, locked her room door, and thought, "They seem like a normal football team. Still, it's strange that they always travel by coach." Chapter 4. Dangerous Fans. In the morning, the Mariella slowly entered Helsinki. From the deck, Monika watched the city get closer. She could see church towers and tall buildings. Suddenly, she heard a loud voice. "There, that's her. She's the one who pushed me into the water." It was the English football fan from Stockholm, the young man she had thrown into the river. His face was even redder, and this time 6 other young men with shaved heads and heavy boots stood with him. They started to sing, "Here we go, here we go." They closed in around Monika. "Get her!" one shouted. The leader, The same fan from Stockholm stepped forward, his face full of anger. "Stop!" a voice ordered. It was Bruce. The group turned to look at him. "Leave her alone. Go to the bus," Bruce said firmly. To Monika's surprise, the men obeyed him. They walked away without another word. "Thank you," Monika said. "I don't know what to say." "That's all right," Bruce replied. "I'm sorry. Some fans don't know when to stop." "But they listened to you," Monika said. "They did what you told them." "Yes," Bruce nodded. "I know them well. We travel together a lot." "So they're your friends?" Monika asked slowly. Bruce smiled. "We're all Millam fans. Lucky we met now. I wanted to see you again." "I'm free today. Want to have lunch and look around Helsinki." Monika hesitated. She felt lonely and would have liked to go, but she was working. "I can't. I must return to Stockholm," she said. "I thought you were on holiday," Bruce said quickly. Monika shook her head. "I can't explain." "Then give me your number in Stockholm," Bruce asked. "No, I'm sorry. I must go," Monika replied. She turned and left. 2 hours later, she was on a plane back to Stockholm. That evening, Blom told her in his office, "MI5 are sending a man called Chapman on the late British Airways flight. He'll help us. Can you meet him at the airport?" "And Milham United?" Monika asked. "We'll ask the Finnish police to watch them," Blom said. "And there's something else. The police still haven't found a bullet. We don't know how Carlson was shot." James Chapman arrived that night. He was tall and slim, about 30, with a small mustache, black hair, and blue eyes. He wore an expensive suit and carried a small bag. "Oh," Chapman said coldly when Monika introduced herself. "So you're Lundgren. I expected a man, not a girl." "I'm not a girl," Monika replied softly. "I'm a woman." He refused to take the bus to the city, insisting on a taxi. "Buses are for ordinary people," he said. In the taxi, Chapman spoke only about himself and his success as an agent. He said nothing about Carlson's case. "I've never been to Sweden before," he added. "It's just a small country, I suppose." "Sweden is bigger than England," Monika said angrily. Chapman laughed. Now, don't get upset." She changed the subject. "Let's talk about Carlson's shooting." By the time she finished explaining, they reached his hotel. "Now, my dear, let's have dinner," Chapman said, taking her arm. "I'm sorry, I can't." "I'll collect you tomorrow at 8, Monika answered firmly. She was glad to leave him. He was rude and boring. The next morning, she took him to City Hall where police divers were still searching for a bullet. "I'd like to dive," Chapman said. "Me too," Monika replied. She had trained as a diver in the USA. They searched the water for hours, but found nothing. Late in the afternoon, Monika felt something under her hand. She pulled out a small piece of metal like the top of a pen. "What do you think it is?" she asked. "Nothing. Throw it away," Chapman said quickly. "No, I'll show Blom," Monika replied. Back at SMI, she placed it on Blom's desk. Blom examined it. "It's a crossbow bolt," he said, drawing a picture. "An old but powerful weapon. It can kill from more than 100 meters." "That explains it," Monika said. "No gunshot, and the sound I heard was the bolt hitting the ground before falling into the water." "Yes," Blom nodded. "And it may have been fired from the SS Vaxholm. But the flash of light you saw, we don't know yet." Chapman coughed. "If you don't need me, I'll return to my hotel," he said. "Fine," Blom replied. Monika waited until Chapman left. Then she said quietly, "He's not much help, is he?" Chapter 5. Orders for London. The next morning, Bloom, Monika, and Chapman met in Bloom's office. Bloom spoke about a Swedish terrorist group called Nordlandet. "They believe white people should rule the world," he explained. "But they are small and weak. Few people agree with them." "We have groups like that in Britain too," Chapman said. He began talking about terrorism, but soon turned the subject back to himself. For 40 minutes he described how clever he was, while saying almost nothing useful about terrorists. "Excuse me," Bloom interrupted. "Could terrorists use football clubs to hide their activities?" Chapman laughed. "What a strange idea." "No, I don't think so, but anything is possible." Chapman stayed in Stockholm for 2 more days. Blom and Monika showed him their reports about Nordlandet and other groups. Chapman spoke a lot but gave little real help. Each evening he asked Monika to have dinner with him, and each evening she refused. On Friday, it was time for Chapman to return to London. At the SMI office, he shook hands with Bloom and Monika. "Would you like me to come to the airport with you?" Monika asked politely. "No, not necessary," Chapman said. "I've enjoyed my visit to your little country, and I've learned a lot. I hope you catch Carlson's attacker. But if you ask me, I'd forget these terrorist groups." He smiled and left. Monika turned to Bloom. "Do you think he's right? That terrorists weren't behind the shooting?" "I don't know," Bloom answered. "But I want you to go to London this afternoon. Find out more about this football team." Monika nodded. "Shall I tell Chapman I'm going?" "Not yet," Bloom said firmly. "He talks too much and does too little. MI5 were probably glad to send him here. Now they can have him back. Go to London and see what you can discover on your own." Chapter 6. Secrets at the Stadium. Monika took the early afternoon SAS flight to London and checked into the Scandic Crown Hotel near Victoria Station. With a map of the city, she marked the location of Millham United Stadium and decided to go there that evening. At 8 o'clock she left the hotel and took a taxi to East London. The area around the stadium was crowded and the lights were on. "Is there a match tonight?" Monika asked the driver. "No, a concert," he replied. At the entrance, a sign read, "White Rock Concert." Monika paid and went in. About 2,000 people filled the stadium. Most were men with shaved heads and heavy boots. A stage stood in the center. The lights came on. A tall red-haired man with a guitar walked out. The crowd cheered. He began to play. Monika stared in shock. It was Bruce, the man she had met on the Mariella. He played brilliantly, even better than before. For half an hour, Monika forgot why she was there. She liked him and she thought, maybe afterwards we could go out together. Then she remembered her mission. She left the concert and searched the rest of the stadium. The football area was dark. She entered through a side door, finding empty changing rooms and showers. Moving on to the office area, she saw one door with light shining underneath. Voices came from inside. She had no place to hide. If she stayed, they might find her. At the last moment, she slipped through another door that led outside into the car park. Closing it quietly, she looked around. Some cars and a coach were parked there. One window above was lit, the same room she had heard voices from. Monika climbed onto a car, then onto the coach parked nearby. From its roof, she could see inside. 5 people were in the office. At the table sat a man of about 50 with thick black hair, and another man in sports clothes around 30. Standing nearby were a young blonde woman and a young man with a shaved head. both in jeans and black jackets. They laughed together, clearly close. The last person was older, at least 60, with white hair, a beard, a dark tan, and a large body. I can see them, but I can't hear what they're saying, Monika thought. She was sure the young couple were Swedish. But who were the others? The white-haired man spread papers and a map on the table and spoke while pointing. Monika wished she could hear more and to know which country the map showed. Then the man in sports clothes walked to the door. Monika froze, thinking he had seen her. But he opened the door for another man who entered. Monika almost gasped. It was Chapman. He shook hands with everyone and began to speak quickly. The others listened carefully. Quietly, Monika took a tiny camera from her pocket. It looked like a cigarette lighter. From the coach roof, she photographed the group. Nobody noticed her. She jumped down, ran across the car park, and climbed over the wall into the street. She stopped a passing taxi. "Scandic Crown Hotel near Victoria Station, please." The next morning, Monika flew back to Stockholm. By early afternoon, her photos were developed. She studied them carefully, then took them to Blom's office. "I know who two of the men are," Monika said. "They're Harry Dixon, chairman of Millham United, and Danny Worthington, the manager. And of course, that's Chapman. But I don't know the others." Blom examined the pictures. The young couple looked like Kent Nystrom and Gunilla Lippisch from Gothenburg. Both are members of a right-wing group. "We'll check to be sure." "And the older man?" Monika asked. "Let's find out," Blom said. In the SMI Information Center, Monika described the white-haired man in the computer. A long list of names appeared. She checked one by one until she reached the letter V. "That's him," she whispered, printing out his details. She ran back to Blom's office. "The old man is Adolf Vitjord," Monika said. "Leader of a South African right-wing party, now living in Mozambique." "Well done," Blom replied with a smile. But why were the football club leaders meeting two young Swedes and a South African? "And what about Chapman?" "Exactly," Monika agreed. "Let's ask him," Blom said, picking up the phone. "Get me MI5 in London. I want to speak to Mr. Chapman." Chapter 7. A Gift with a Secret. "Is that Chapman?" Blom asked into the phone. "Blom here. I have something to tell you, and a question." Monika watched as Blom explained what she had seen at Millham United Stadium, though he didn't mention that she had taken photos or that they already knew the people's names. "And my question is this," Blom said firmly. "What were you doing there?" He listened in silence. From time to time he nodded and said, "I see." Then his voice rose. "No, she couldn't hear what was said in the room. And no, she wasn't spying on you. How could she know you would be there?" After a pause, he ended the call. Blom turned to Monika. "Our friend Chapman says he was helping us. He claims he went to the stadium to learn about the football club. He says the others were just football fans discussing the team's visit to Sweden. He's angry we didn't tell him you were in London. He thinks you were spying on him." "Do you believe him?" Monika asked. "I don't know. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding," Blom replied. "Did he give you any new information?" "No," Blom said. "So what now?" Monika asked. "I want you to go to South Africa," Blom answered. "We need to know more about Vitjord." Monika looked surprised. "But Vitjord was in London." "Yes, yesterday, but he will return to South Africa. Go and wait for him. Find out why he's interested in Millham United. If possible, talk to him. But you can't say you're from SMI." "I'll think of something," Monika said. "Good." Pack some clothes and return here by 5. We'll book you on a flight tonight." Later that afternoon, Monika was back in Bloom's office. "You're flying with SAS to Johannesburg," Bloom said with a smile. "You'll stay at the Carlton Hotel in the city center. One of our agents, Joseph, works there. He'll pass on my messages and help you if needed." "All right," Monika replied. "Good. And here's something for you." Bloom handed her 2 small bags. Monika opened the first. Inside was a Walkman. "Thank you," she said. The second bag felt soft. She opened it and laughed. It was a blue bikini. Bloom held up the bikini top. "See this? It's also a radio. Tiny wires inside record sound. The Walkman receives it. When you wear the bikini, you can hear people talking up to 20 meters away." "Well," Monika said, "I'm going to work, not to lie on the beach." "Take it anyway," Blom said. "Vitjord sometimes stays at the Carlton, and there's a pool there." "All right," Monika said, putting the Walkman and bikini into her bag. Then she looked at her watch. "I must go." Chapter 8. Listening by the pool, the giant SAS 747 began to move. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. Monika felt the push against her back as the plane lifted off for Johannesburg. Looking out at the wing, she remembered the woman standing on the wing of the Steerman at the water festival. She wondered if that was as dangerous as facing Vitjord. 10 hours later, the plane flew over Johannesburg. From her window, Monika saw tall modern buildings, poor crowded areas on the edge of the city, and huge piles of earth from the gold mines. The Carlton Hotel was large and expensive. A porter opened her taxi door and another carried her suitcase. At reception, she received a note from Bloom. "Have a rest. I will get in touch with you soon." In her room, she showered and slept. When she woke in the evening, she went for a short walk outside. She saw long lines of people waiting for minibuses, women in colorful hats, and a barber cutting hair by the road. She noticed that she was the only white person walking there, and people stared at her. A police car stopped and asked if she needed help. Monika said no and hurried back to the hotel. The next day, she went to the pool. Later in the afternoon, she noticed 3 men sitting at a table about 10 meters away. Another man walked toward them. He had white hair and a beard. It was Vitjord. "Hi," Vitjord greeted them as he sat down. They began to talk. Monika quickly put on sunglasses and pulled her hat lower. She lay on her side, slipped a cassette into the Walkman, and pressed record. Through the radio hidden in her bikini, she heard every word. Vitjord was telling the men about his trip to London. Monika's eyes widened as she listened. He was planning to buy a nuclear weapon. "We're getting the bomb this week," Vitjord said. "Our friends will collect it in Russia and bring it to London. Then my private plane will fly it to Mozambique. From there, we'll bring it here. With the bomb, we can take over South Africa and make it a white country again." The men nodded and smiled. But Vitjord's face grew serious. "There is one problem, Carlson. He has recovered. Since the shooting, governments and businesses have given him much money. Soon he will have enough for the Russians to destroy their weapons. We must stop him. One bomb is not enough. We need many bombs." "Why didn't we kill him in Stockholm?" one man asked. "There will be another chance," Vitjord replied. "Carlson is out of hospital now. Next Friday, he has another meeting in Stockholm. First we get our bomb, then we get Carlson." He hit the table with his hand. Suddenly, one of the men noticed Monika. "Who's that girl? She keeps looking at you." "I don't know." Vityor answered. Go get her. Monika stood up quickly and walked to the lift. Someone shouted, Hey, stop! She hurried inside. There was another person in the lift. It was Joseph, the SMI agent at the hotel. She pulled the cassette from her Walkman and gave it to him. Send this to Blum, she whispered. The lift stopped at the 3rd floor and Joseph got out. Monika continued to the ground floor. In the lobby, people turned to look at her bikini. 2 men with radios began walking toward her. She tried to get back into the lift, but the doors closed. When they opened again, Vityor was standing inside. Hi, he said. The doors shut behind her. Chapter 9. Lunch with the enemy. The porter closed the back door of a white Mercedes. Its windows were dark, and the engine ran smoothly as the car left the Carlton Hotel. Traffic in Johannesburg was heavy at first, but the car soon reached the quieter northern suburbs where rich people lived. The Mercedes passed tall trees, high walls topped with glass, and large houses with swimming pools. Servants walked along the roads, going to or from work in these homes. Monika sat in the back beside Vityor. He was taking her to his house for lunch. In the lift, when he had asked why she had been looking at him, she had replied quickly, Because I always wanted to meet you. She told him she was Swedish, visiting South Africa for a holiday, and that she had heard about him from friends Kent and Gunilla. She introduced herself as Maria Svensson. Vityor had smiled. Well, Maria, would you like to have lunch with me? Now, as the Mercedes drove through large wooden gates into a garden with a pool, Monika thought, What am I doing? Sitting with the man who tried to kill Carlson. I must be crazy. Inside the yellow house, Vityor poured himself a strong drink and offered Monika something. An orange juice, please, she said. He was eager to talk. He spoke of his hatred for black people, his army in Mozambique, and his dream of taking power in South Africa. Soon the world will know my name, he said proudly. Monika listened in silence. She thought he was mad and dangerous. A telephone rang in another room. Excuse me, Vityor said, leaving her alone. Monika walked around and looked at the photos on the walls. They were all of Vityor dressed as a soldier, speaking to crowds, posing with guns, even standing near dead bodies. You like my pictures? A voice said suddenly. Monika jumped. Vityor had returned without a sound. He stood close behind her. She asked about one photo with the bodies. Namibia, he said. We killed many blacks there. Monika felt sick. Then without warning, his arms locked tightly around her. Wait, she said nervously. Where's the toilet? Vityor laughed and let her go. By the front door, don't be long. She walked quickly to the toilet, closed the door loudly, but instead ran out of the house. In the garden, the gardener was still watering the grass. The Mercedes was there with the keys inside. Monika jumped in and started the engine. The gardener shouted, and the driver ran from the house. Vityor appeared at the door with a gun. Shots rang out as Monika drove straight at the wooden gates. The car smashed through and sped into the street. Bullets hit the car but missed her. She had escaped. After a few kilometers, she slowed down, not wanting police to stop her. At a shopping center, she bought a red dress, red shoes, a white hat, dark glasses, and black hair dye. In the toilet, she changed her look completely. Then she drove to Jan Smuts Airport. A policeman stopped her at the entrance, searched for guns, and let her go. Relieved, she looked at the flight board. The first flight to Europe wasn't until 8 that evening. Too long to wait. Suddenly, she spotted one of Vitjord's men from the Carlton walking past. Luckily, he didn't recognize her. Her disguise had worked. Monika checked the flights again. The next departure was to Maputo, Mozambique. Perfect, she thought. I've always wanted to go to Mozambique. She bought a ticket and boarded. On the plane, she heard two men talking in front of her. They were Vitjord's men. I wonder where that Swedish woman is. One said. She stole Vitjord's car, but she wasn't at the airport. She's not on this plane either. There are no blondes here. They both laughed. Monika sat quietly behind them, her hair now black. Chapter 10. A narrow escape. The Lam 737 turned and began to descend toward Maputo, the capital of Mozambique. From her window, Monika saw the silver Indian Ocean dotted with small fishing boats and one large ship. The land below was flat and dry with a few scattered trees. On the grass near the airport building, white stones spelled the word Maputo. The plane landed and stopped outside a small green terminal. Passengers walked across the tarmac into the building. Ahead, Monika noticed Vitjord's two men right behind her in the passport line. She handed her Swedish passport to the officer. "Excuse me," he said. "What is your name?" "Monika Lundgren," she answered with a smile. "But this photo doesn't look like you," the officer said. He held it up. At that moment, one of Vitjord's men leaned forward to look as well. "This isn't your photo," the officer continued. "Please come with me." Relieved to be away from the men, Monika followed him to a small office. It was hot inside and the window was open. A short man with a round face and a beard entered. He smiled. "Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm Kabinda, passport police," Monika explained quickly. "My hair is different. I used dye in South Africa. I can wash it off if you want proof." Kabinda studied her carefully, then compared her to the passport. "It's all right. I can see it's you, but you need a visa $10. Monika paid and walked out into the warm air. The bus to the city had gone, so she started walking with others along the road. Soon a white van stopped in front of her. Two men got out. It was Vitjord's men. One opened the back doors. "Get in," the bearded man said, grabbing her arm. Monika pulled back. People nearby stopped to watch but said nothing. Then another engine approached. "Can I help you?" a friendly voice called. It was Kabinda. He was driving an old yellow lorry full of people. "Yes, please," Monika cried. The two men glared at Kabinda, then got back into their van. "We'll find you," the bearded one warned through the window as the van drove off. "Do you know them?" Kabinda asked. "Not really. Thank you for helping me," Monika said. "It's nothing," he replied kindly. "But it's far to the city. Come with us." He pointed to the lorry. "We call this a chapa." The lorry was crowded with 50 people standing in the back, but Monika climbed in gratefully. As they drove, she saw wooden houses along the road with children playing outside. Gradually, the houses grew bigger and the city appeared. "What's that building?" Monika shouted over the noise as they passed a tall, half-finished tower. Kabinda smiled. "A gift from the Portuguese. When they left in 1975, they destroyed what they couldn't take. They filled that hotel with concrete. Now it's useless." Soon the chopper reached the city center. "Let's find you a hotel," Kabinda said. The first few were full, but finally they found her a room at the Polana Hotel, a little outside town with views of palm trees and the deep blue ocean. "Thank you for everything," Monika said. "You are our guest," Kabinda replied warmly. Tonight, my wife and I will take you to dinner. We'll come at 8. Later, Monika visited the Swedish embassy. The consul, Krista Sandelin, called Bloom to confirm her identity. "What are you doing in Mozambique?" Bloom asked on the phone. Monika explained and added, "Did you get the cassette from Joseph?" "Not yet," Bloom said. "It will arrive tomorrow morning." "Vitjord plans to kill Carlson again," Monika warned. "And he tried to kill me too. I want you back in Stockholm as soon as possible," Bloom ordered. "Stay in your hotel and don't go out." "I promise," Monika said. She hung up, thanked Krista, and walked back to the Polana, enjoying the soft evening air. Back at the hotel, she washed the black dye from her hair. Then she remembered she was having dinner with Kabinda and his wife. Chapter 11. Trapped at the fair. At 8:10, the phone in Monika's hotel room rang. "We're waiting for you in reception," said Kabinda. Monika hesitated. Bloom had told her to stay inside like a child. She decided differently. "I'm coming," she replied. Kabinda and his wife Amelia greeted her with smiles. "Everything okay? You look more like your passport photo now," Kabinda joked. They went to the Feira Popular, a fun fair with many restaurants. After looking around, they chose a seafood place. It was early, so the restaurant was quiet. Monika relaxed with him. Amelia spoke good English, and Kabinda told stories about life in Mozambique. But then he asked, "So, what do you do? Are you here on holiday, so far from Sweden and without luggage?" Monika felt she owed them the truth. She didn't say she worked for SMI, but she explained about Vitjord and the men at the airport. Kabinda listened carefully. "Vitjord is known here," he said. "He has his own army near the South African border. Our country is at peace, but men like him are still dangerous. Be careful." Monika nodded. "I must return to Stockholm soon." "Oh, that's sad," Amelia said. "Mozambique is beautiful. Please come again and stay longer. There are flights to Portugal and France," Kabinda said. "On Sunday, there's an Air France flight to Paris. I'll try to book that tomorrow," Monika said. She offered to pay for dinner, but Kabinda refused. "While you are here, you are our guest." When Kabinda went to pay and Amelia went to the toilet, Monika sat alone. She thought, what kind, friendly people. "Hello, miss," said a voice she knew. She looked up. Vitjord's men stood beside her. "We said we'd find you," the bearded one said with a smile. Their white van was parked outside. He grabbed Monika's arm. "Come for a ride with us." Monika pretended to let him pull her close. Then she drove her heel into his foot. He cried out in pain and she ran into the crowd. The fair was busy now, making it hard to run fast. She looked back. The men were chasing her. Ahead, people stood in line. She pushed forward and realized it was for the big wheel. Monika jumped into a seat. "My friends will pay," she told the attendant, pointing at the men behind her. The wheel rose into the air. Below, she saw the men climb into another seat. A shot rang out. One of them was firing at her. "I can't just sit here," she thought. Holding the metal bar above her, Monika climbed onto the next seat. Another shot whizzed past. The crowd below gasped. Kabinda's worried face looked up at her. The wheel turned higher. She climbed again, moving 2 seats away so the men lost sight of her. Then, as the wheel came near the ground, she jumped off, hitting the ground hard. "Are you all right?" Kabinda asked, running to her. "Yes," Monika said, getting up. "I've got an idea. Can you ask the operator to keep those 2 men stuck at the top for 10 minutes? Cabinda laughed and spoke to the operator. "Done," he said with a smile. "Plenty of time for us to get a taxi." The next morning, Cabinda helped Monika book a seat on Sunday's flight to Paris. On Saturday, she enjoyed sightseeing in Maputo with him and Amelia. On Sunday, she said goodbye at the airport. "Thank you for everything," she told them. 2 hours later, the Air France 747 took off. Monika soon fell asleep. When she woke, the plane was landing. Looking out, she saw a sign, Jan Smuts Airport, Johannesburg. "Oh no," Monika thought. "I'm back in South Africa." Chapter 12. The Guitar Weapon. Monika stared out the window of the Air France 747 in shock. She thought she was on a flight to Paris, not Johannesburg. Then the pilot's voice explained, "We will stop in Johannesburg for 45 minutes to take on passengers. You may stay on board." "Oh yes, I'm staying right here," Monika thought. "I don't want to meet Vitjord again." The plane took off on time and landed in Paris early Monday morning. From there, Monika caught an SAS flight to Stockholm. By lunchtime, she was in Bloom's office, telling him everything about her adventures in South Africa and Mozambique. "Well done," Bloom said, holding the cassette Joseph had sent. "I've listened to it carefully. Now we must do 2 things. First, we must keep Carlson safe. Second, we must stop Vitjord from getting the nuclear bomb." Monika nodded. "When is Carlson's next meeting?" "Friday evening at the Strand Hotel," Blum replied. "While you were away, we followed Milham United. On Sunday they arrived in Gothenburg, then drove to Stockholm and took the evening ferry to St. Petersburg. They will spend 3 days in Russia, play a match, then return to Stockholm by ferry on Thursday. On Friday they play here, then go to Gothenburg in the evening." Monika frowned. "Why go everywhere by coach and ferry? Why not fly?" "Exactly," Blum said. "We must discover what is so special about their coach. When they come back on Friday, you will search it. Meanwhile, we must plan Carlson's security at the Strand." All week, Monika and SMI worked hard. Everyone going into the Strand would be searched, and every room checked. In Russia, Milham United played in St. Petersburg. But one night, their coach drove secretly to a walled compound outside the city. 2 men in long coats were waiting. Dixon, Worthington, Kent, and Gunilla handed them a heavy sports bag filled with South African gold. In return, the men gave them a huge suitcase-shaped container. Worthington locked it inside the coach. The next day, the team played their match as planned. On Thursday, Milham United returned to Stockholm and stayed at the Strand Hotel. SMI agents followed them everywhere. They searched rooms, listened to calls, and recorded conversations, but found nothing. "The only thing we can't search is the coach," Monika reported. "It's always guarded." "Don't give up," Bloom said. "Stay with them until they leave Stockholm. Then join me at the Strand for Carlson's meeting." On Friday, Monika watched Milham United win their match 3-2 at the Olympic Stadium. Police arrested 12 of their fans. That evening, the team left Stockholm in their coach, heading to Gothenburg. "Nothing," Monika told Blom back at SMI. "We found nothing." "We will," Blom said with a smile. "I've got an idea. But first, let's make sure Carlson is safe tonight." At 6 o'clock, Bloom and Monika arrived at the Strand. Security searched them carefully. Inside, the main restaurant was closed to the public. The room rose 6 floors high, with windows and a glass roof above. A tall tree stood in the center. Carlson would speak at the long table in front. "We've checked everything," Bloom said. "There are no weapons here. Carlson is safe. But in room 615 upstairs, a man was busy. Security had searched his bag and guitar case, but he had hidden his plan well. He turned his electric guitar into a crossbow and loaded a metal bolt. At 7:30, he was ready. At 8 o'clock, Carlson entered the restaurant. Everyone stood. From the window above, the man aimed his guitar crossbow. Monika looked up. A flash of light caught her eye, just like the one she saw at the water festival. She saw the guitar and realized. "Someone's at that window," she shouted to Bloom, then raced up the stairs. She kicked open room 613, empty. Room 614, empty. In 615, the man raised the crossbow. Monika burst in, diving at his legs. The weapon clattered to the floor. He struck her head, throwing her down, then ran for the door. Monika grabbed the crossbow and aimed. "Stop!" she shouted. He kept running. She fired, hitting his leg. He fell in pain. She turned him over and gasped. It was Bruce, the guitarist she had danced with on the Mariella. "I'm dying," he cried. "Help me." Monika hesitated. She had liked him, but he had shot Carlson. She loaded the weapon again. "Answer me, or I'll shoot your other leg. Why did you do it?" Bruce's face twisted in anger. "Yes, I shot Carlson. Tonight I was going to finish him." "But why?" Monika demanded. "For my father," Bruce said. "He wants Carlson dead. His name is Vitjord." Monika stared. "Vitjord is your father?" "Yes," Bruce said proudly. 2 SMI men burst in. Monika handed them the crossbow. "Here's the man who shot Carlson," she said. "Take care of him." Chapter 13. Back on solid ground. Monika slowly walked down the hotel stairs toward the restaurant. Her mind was full of thoughts. She had just stopped a man who tried to kill Carlson. A few days earlier, she had danced with him, not knowing he had shot someone. Still, she felt pleased. She had saved Carlson. Blom waited for her outside. She told him everything that had happened. He listened and nodded. "You did very well," he said. "You're the best agent we have." Monika smiled. The praise felt like her parents telling her she was good. Bloom then reminded her of their plan. "Tomorrow you go to Gothenburg. Then you take the ferry to England. When the ship is at sea, you will be able to check the coach." Monika worried. "What if something goes wrong?" she asked. Bloom smiled. "I've thought of that. 12 SMI agents will be on the ferry with you. Lars Nilsson will lead them. You know him." Early the next morning, a car took Monika to a military airfield. She flew with military pilots to Gothenburg and slept for a few hours. At the port, she met Lars Nilsson. From a high window, they watched cars and coaches drive onto the ferry, the Princess of Scandinavia. Monika saw the Milham United coach. It had 3 people with it, the driver and 2 others. That was odd. Usually only the driver stays with the coach. Monika, Lars, and the other agents waited inside a small room with TV screens that showed the coach area. When the ferry left the harbor, the doors to the car deck were locked. Monika checked her keys and waited for the right moment. 2 hours into the journey, Lars opened the door to the car deck and said, "Good luck." Monika climbed down and walked to the coach. She opened the driver's door and climbed in. It was empty. She opened the luggage doors and stepped inside. At first it was dark. Then she felt something warm. A person. 2 hands closed on her throat. Someone hit her head against the coach wall again and again. She felt herself losing breath. By chance, she hit a switch and a light came on. Vitjord stood above her. He had been hiding in the coach. He let go and kicked her. "Now, my little Swedish friend," he said, "come and see my toy." He opened part of the floor. Monika saw a large green box with Russian writing. "The bomb." Vitjord smiled. "This is my toy. You will not take it from me." He raised a knife. "Now I will kill you." "Stop!" a voice shouted. It was Chapman. Monika thought he had come to help, but Chapman stood with Vitjord and kicked her hard. "You'll talk now," he said. Monika saw the truth. Chapman and Vitjord were working together. Chapman had told Vitjord she had been in Johannesburg. Vitjord lifted his knife. Monika did not answer. Then she moved fast, kneeing him sharply between the legs. He cried out and dropped the knife. She lunged for a small knife and threw it. It struck Chapman's shoulder and he fell out of the coach. Monika jumped after him, but Chapman struck her with his gun and she fell. A cloud of smoke and shouting followed. Someone fired a shot and Monika felt a pain in her shoulder. Then everything went black. When she woke, she was in a hospital bed. Bloom sat beside her. "Are you all right?" he asked. Monika smiled weakly. "I think so." Lars and his men had seen Chapman fall from the coach with a gun. They had thrown smoke bombs and stormed the coach. Chapman had shot Monika in the shoulder, but the agents had caught both Chapman and Vitjord. They had also found the bomb. The ferry had to return to Gothenburg and the police were questioning members of Milham United. Monika thought about the people she had met. Vitjord and his son Bruce, Chapman, who had betrayed her, and Kabinda and his wife in Maputo, who had helped her. She thought about the big wheel and falling off a moving coach. She closed her eyes and felt tired. Then she smiled and said, "Since this started, I have felt as if I was standing on the wing of a plane, at the end of Wings of Danger." If you enjoyed Wings of Danger, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more exciting stories in simple, graded English. Share it with friends who love action and suspense. And tell us in the comments which moment of Monika's journey shocked you the most. For more stories and learning resources, check the links in the description.